It's Annie in the Water. It's time to play. Very cool band. Wanted to start it off right this morning. So good morning. Thank you for being here. We are honored to take part and bring together, as Jim was saying, a collection of retailers and some suppliers to share what they're doing. Thank you for being here, for making the trip, for showing up. You know, I was going to say there's magic in the room. And I was like, magic in the room. What does that mean? Look around. Look at the people next to you. You know, this is amazing that we have an opportunity to come together and connect and share with one another. And I saw some great moments yesterday. I sat in some amazing discussions, some panel discussions, where we just called people out. Like Philip had no idea that I was just going to be like, boom, help, share. And we're learning from each other. And that's what this is about. We're leaving here, going back to our stores, back to our environments and our workplaces with new ideas, fresh ideas, possibly a little freaking hope, right? So I invited some friends to come up here and share with us so we can continue to keep elevating everyone. That's what we need to do. We have to keep rising each other up. So let's welcome some friends. We have Colton Rice from Quivers. I'm just going to call, if you are up, if you know you're coming up here, we have a couple of people from SRAM coming up. Steve from Wahoo, come on up. Alex from CABDA Bikes. David from Pedalworks. Find a cool seat, yeah. It's really quiet, yeah.
It's unlike our industry to be this quiet. Notice people all hang out in the back there so they can get the call. Thanks, Jim.
So I've been sharing with retailers and friends recently this thought pattern around soup. This might sound a little strange, but you ever go to a diner and you see a sign that says, "Now serving soup"? It's like, wow, congratulations, you did it! You are serving soup. You overcame whatever obstacles were holding you up and you have figured it out. Whatever struggles you pushed through, you persevered, and you are now serving soup. Well done, right? So it's funny, but it's a way of measuring improvement, right? And sometimes it's hard to tell how good you're doing today. But every day I wake up and I know I'm doing better than I was yesterday. And that's how we measure improvement. Every day we wake up knowing that we're doing better. It might be we're serving soup, but it also it might mean we're growing, we're responding, we're changing, we're selling used bikes. Whatever we're doing, it's better. Now serving soup, that's funny, right? So this morning's conversation is centered around the state of the industry, and we've asked retailers what they're seeing on the front lines and how they've pivoted their practices and how they're improving themselves every day. And you will notice a mix of people on this panel, so we also have suppliers, because I thought we wanted to add into the conversation what they're doing to help us, and also ask them, because you know, SRAM, Kevin, you're out in the field seeing what retailers are doing every day. Witnessing. So I'm beyond thankful to the panel members who joined us, and let me just again go through. We have Sonia Johnson, SRAM, Kevin Horde with SRAM, David Spalding from Pedalworks Bike in Washington, Steve Bessany, National Sales Manager with Wahoo, Alex Cortez with CABDA Bikes, and Colton Rice with Quivers. So over the past 20 months, the bicycle industry has been hit with rapid changes. We had a significant boom in cycling interest, coupled with a global crisis in supply, which we know about, staffing concerns, which we hear about often. But we have also witnessed a commitment to our industry that we have never seen before. We have had industry retailers come united to talk through challenges. We've had suppliers working with us to meet demand, working with each other, making new relationships to meet demands. We have advocacy groups passing bills like e-bike bills that are going to give us incentives to purchase. I have the pleasure to do weekly Monday Mingle events with many MBDA members, and in those events, they're virtual, and I witness retailers helping retailers. That's amazing stuff. You know, people ask, when I said, come join the panel, they're like, you want me to give away my secrets? And then we would laugh, and they're like, I'm happy to. I'm happy to. That's awesome. So today you're not only going to hear from these panel members, but we have videos. I asked my friends to share some stuff that they're doing, people who couldn't be here, so we have videos. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of magic. So let's kick it off with David from Pedalworks. Everyone has mics, I think, right? So David, Pedalworks Bike Washington, how have you shifted your practices over the past 20 months to better meet your customers and be more profitable?
Well, I opened in those first 20 months. So I've just, Pedalworks as a concept, I've worked in bike shops and managed for a while, but a mobile bike shop in our area, which was really needed, I opened in June of this year. And I haven't had a moment to myself other than this time, which I was just, in some of the conversations, I keep getting dinged with people wanting work done because bringing it to the customer, coming to the customer and doing services. I think a really good model, at least a model that's necessary along with brick and mortar. But the kind of pivot that I made is I started this business to work on people's mountain bikes, road bikes, and now I pretty much all do e-bikes. And that was an interesting pivot. I had to go out and find the resources in order to educate myself to work on those e-bikes. Some companies, Bosch, offer a lot of tools for plug-in, for use. Other companies, it's a rear hub and a simple controller, and so in order to work on those, you have to know electronics and work on them. So it's been an interesting few months to go from knowing, working on dropper seat posts and suspension to now pretty much exclusively working on e-bikes because that's what people are scheduling. So that's been a big change. And then enough so that I actually just got on with the Beeline fulfillment. So people are ordering bikes for direct customer, and they ship them to me, I build them, and I deliver them to their door. So kind of a full service piece there. And that's, I've just started that, so I'm really curious to see how that adds to it as well.
David, this is your first trade show ever.
Yeah, a bike trade show, yeah.
That's awesome. And yesterday he just came up with the biggest grin, and he's like, I have just learned so much that it's worth the time and cost to be here. David, how are you keeping your customers engaged and coming back to you and calling you?
I'm kind of lucky in that I've worked in retail in my area for 20 years, and so I have a group of customers that I've curated. So in outdoor retail to begin with. So those were the first people that, when they saw that I was opening mobile, I had a full schedule to start out with. But I'm also in an area that's discovering that bikes are cool. We're kind of behind the times a little bit as far as mountain biking and seeing how great biking and bike infrastructure can be. So part of that is whatever I can do to keep people engaged. But what I find is the bike industry, because of its culture, there's a really good, especially with IDBs and now even a lot of direct-to-customer.
This is where it gets exciting.
And this is the musical part of the show.
Wait till you see what we're going to do next.
Customer engagement is about meeting them where they're at right now. And I think that's why mobile, for me, is working really well, is because I'm meeting them where they're at. And I'm going to have a brick and mortar eventually because they're so happy about me meeting them where they're at that they want to come to my shop. So they see my van, I'm working on their bike, and they're like, hey, when can I stop by? And I'm like, no, this is this is it. You come on in, sit in the van, and hang out. And they do. Like, most of my work takes a little bit longer because I'm chatting with my customer the entire time. And not only are they wanting me to work on their bike, but they're asking me for recommendations on product. And there's several at this show that I found that are going to be great solutions for my customers. And I mean, the triathlete that is sitting in my van saying, man, I'm really sore. And now I have things to, more things to recommend that work well for them, and you know, those will be people that follow me whatever industry I go into.
I love that. David is the expert, and he is meeting customers where they are at. I love that. Alex, you are with Centripetal Bikes. You are the service manager, correct?
Yes, I am.
And what have you, and I know James well, he's part of our P2 program, anything at the shop that you have done to better engage customers or be more profitable over the past 20 months?
Well, pretty much like everybody else, we're trying just to keep it up with the pace, which is highly in our town, and it's just trying to meet the needs of the consumer at the time. If trying to get parts for them or accessories under the sleep, like magical is going to appear for you, don't worry, I will try to do my best to keep you. So we always have the goal to satisfy the consumer. So no matter what it's going to be, because sometimes we may lose money, but at the end of the day, that consumer will come back to us and will bring a friend. So we train our staffs with videos and how to approach a sale, how to close a sale, how to greet them, how to be more proactive to them, listen. And in our case on the service department, is we take the time with them. You know, it's not necessarily like they come, bring the bike, I want a service. Okay, wait a minute, let me take a look. And we could spend 30 minutes with them. So maybe it's too much. But at the end, a $85 service, for example, it will become a $300 service. So I already cover our money loss on the consultation. Keeping updated the consumer with the details of the work order. So explain to them at the end of the day what happened, what they need to expect with the future services, and tell them what they will require eventually. So that's the way we engage with them, and tell them like, yeah, you will need to come by in X amount of time, so we could double check again what's going on with your bike. So we've relied lots on our social media for Yelp and Google reviews, and we don't look at the positive, but more for the negative reviews. So because that way we're going to learn where we fail. So positive reviews is going to be lots. So you don't need to see that. You need to see what's on the other side. So that's going to teach you where you need to be fixed. So that's the way.
Love that, continuous improvement. Thinking about that, where would you see opportunity for growth in the future?
Service. Service is going to keep going the main growing part for industry, because there's many companies right now, they go D2C, and so that consumer will need service. You know, people to come to Walmart and buy the Huffy bike and then bring it to you, just because it's a Huffy Walmart, that doesn't mean doesn't need a service. Yes, it needs service, maybe too much. But if you are making easy to the consumer to understand what's the problem to have one bike of those, they will appreciate it. And they may return the bike to Walmart and they get one for you. Or just stick with the Walmart service. So service is going to be one of the main projects for the next few years.
David,
I see you shaking your head. You're agreeing? Is that where you're seeing the focus?
Oh
too?
yeah, service definitely I think is an opportunity. You know, it's one of the areas where I think there is getting to be more knowledge sharing, but it's one of the challenges I see, like in my area with shops. We have a lot of years of wisdom within the shops, but there's very little knowledge sharing. In the service area especially, you know, sales of product, you have a lot of information about those, but then when it comes to working on the product, they're resources, online resources, but you don't necessarily have the experts, people who've worked on different parts of bikes, sharing their knowledge and passing that down. No, that's changing. Professional Bicycle Mechanics Association, other groups, you have those resources. And service is, you've got to do it right, make the customer satisfied. It doesn't, like he was saying, it doesn't matter if it's, I don't think it matters if it's an inexpensive bike, because that's the person that if they have a good experience because you've done the right service on their bike, that's going to invest in a better bike down the way, and they'll be your customer for life. You'll be selling bikes to their kids and doing service for those bikes. So I totally agree that service is a huge opportunity, especially because, direct to consumers, I think that's part of the landscape, and that's going to be great because there's a lot of variety out there. Those bikes still need service. And so be the person that does the service for those bikes. That's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, we had a great retailer mind meld yesterday, which was one of our seminars on service, where we had Ed from SRAM and Aaron, who's the director of education at QBP, and talking about reaching out to our customers, reminding them of service intervals, reminding them about shock services that are due, and the potential and the opportunity that's there. As I said, we had many retailers who couldn't be here today, but we do have a special video that we made that we wanted to share. If you just look this way.
Good morning, CABDA Keynote attendees. Sorry I can't make the show this year. It's always been my favorite show since the days of Rosemont, when people around this part of the world thought that was something from a Citizen Kane movie. I'm going to flip this to the other mode and show you what's been going on at Mount Airy Bicycle since March 2020, when bicycles were finally declared essential. We've been selling bikes out of our stash of 4,000 or so used bikes, and of course everybody rides a used bike. There are classics, there are staple bikes, and there are basic bikes that we get in from customers. All good bikes. Remember, everybody rides a used bike. Bicycles I never thought I'd take out of my stash are starting to move. I think 400 of these things have gone out of here in the past 18 months. The mayor called us from College Park, and the mayor of Mount Airy said, I got some good news. I'm on the Rails to Trails Conservancy. I just talked to Homeland Security, and they have declared bikes, as well as one other organization that he's on. They have declared bikes as essential. So you don't have to shut your door at 5 o'clock as Governor Hogan had mandated. And we are so happy because we never missed a day. And we've been working outside. We've been working outside for over 30 years anyway. You can see that we have work stands set up out here, and business as usual. Unfortunately, the new bikes that are usually take up this whole line are not here anymore. I hope that Heather and Rachel can make something out of this chopped up tape. Thank you. Have a great show. Bye-bye.
Hi, CABDA Show. My name is Amos Brumble. I own Brumble Bikes in Westerly, Rhode Island. Heather asked me to speak a little bit about how the boom and the shortage of product is being handled here at the shop. Right now, I'm trying to spend most of my time when I'm dealing with customers in person to let them know what the current situation is in terms of availability. That's a big step. I think is a lot of people are getting that are in the industry are burned out on explaining how they don't have things. So I try to spend a little bit of time explaining why there's a shortage, that there's going to be wait times for products, and here's some alternatives, offering things like advice on how to buy a used bike currently, supplying them with used bikes when I do get them. That's a big thing. But I think honestly the other half of the equation is really bringing customers into kind of the lifestyle of cycling. I mainly do that by bringing them on to the shop email list, regularly communicating to them, things about cycling. It might be tips on how to maintain their bike, or places to go ride their bike, or new products that are coming into the store. I think it's really important to let everybody know that product is coming in slowly but surely, and it's been ordered a while ago, and everybody needs to kind of understand that. And then outside of that, you know, I just try to have fun in the shop, you know, try to maintain a positive attitude and, you know, enjoy myself. So I hope you're having a good time at the show, and I'll be out here when it's in Manhattan.
Hi, CABDA West. This is Joshua Sutton from Trail Yard. We are a mountain bike focused shop in Northwest Indiana in a town called Valparaiso. We only opened up about 1 month ago. I've been in and out of other shops since about 2000. We are opening a full family-friendly restaurant as well as a bar in springtime, so we're gonna be one of those shops. Heather asked me to get a hold of you all though to talk about the bike shop side of things. I've certainly been ordering product for the shop since this spring, getting in what I can. We all have been doing this together though, so it's grateful to have groups like the NVDA to help us through it all and to be somebody to talk to. From the service side of things, we're obviously trying to look for parts as well, but we're trying to be good communicators with the customers coming in and just be a friendly face for them. We are right next to about 10 miles of mountain bike trails, so that's very helpful in terms of our customer coming to us. And it really helps us be a good part of the community as well. If any bike brands out there want to become a part of this, just give me a holler. Nice to talk to y'all and enjoy the rest of the show.
Hello, CABDA West. My name's Matt Wallen. I'm the owner of Round Trip Bike Shop in Casa Grande, Arizona. Heather asked me to take a moment and talk a little bit about shop operations in light of the current industry situation with supply and how we're taking advantage of the bike boom. One of the biggest things that we are doing and what we're really focused on is service. It's really honestly the single greatest advantage that we've ever had as a shop, and especially as a small local shop in a smaller community. We've been competing with things as far as supply chain goes for years already. We've had Amazon, we've had other major discounters that are selling online. We've had problems like this before, and nothing is really honestly that much different other than it's harder for us to source the parts that we're used to sourcing. So yeah, we got to get a little bit more resourceful. We have to dig a little bit deeper to find product, and I think a lot of us are out there doing that already. But the one thing that I think that we're doing that's unique is we're really trying to say yes more. And that can mean whatever it wants to mean to you. For us, it means whatever walks through the door, if it's something that we can work on and it's something that we can do that's bike related and it can further cycling in this community, we're saying yes. And we're not giving excuses. We're not telling them why we can't get it done right now or in a week or whatever the case may be. We're turning stuff around in 24 hours. And granted, we are in an area that's small. We don't have probably nearly the amount of volume that some of the larger shops have, and that might be a more difficult task, but we're trying to be better. We're trying to do better for our community and making sure that not only are people enjoying their bikes, but they're able to keep riding them and stay on them. If the bike's broken and sitting in a garage somewhere or not doing anything in a yard, it's not doing any good for the cycling industry, and it's certainly not doing any good for us. So I would just say yes more. And that's helped us tons and has really helped keep an upbeat attitude and helped us to really thrive in what could be challenging times. I'm really grateful for the opportunity that Heather gave me to share this with you guys, and I hope you have a great show. Thank you.
I love him. He's awesome. Say yes more. It's easy. Say yes more. All right, Steve, I'm putting you on the spot here. As National Sales Manager for Wahoo Fitness, some examples of ways that your company is supporting retailers during these times.
I'm thankful that Heather took the time to send me the questions yesterday, and I took some notes for you guys. What a strange year and a half it's been. Most of us have been in the industry for a long time. Some are newcomers, owning a store, be it bricks and mortar or mobile. And I don't think any of us predicted what was going to happen when a pandemic struck. Wahoo was no exception. We were surprised by the sheer volume, but we didn't sit on our heels. We looked at this as an opportunity, as many of us do. So how are we supporting retailers today? The first thing we did was double down on our inventory, and it's not easy. We know that there is a shortage in computer chips, and it's making supply of our very popular GPS computers a challenge. But as we move into what is traditionally trainer season, although according to Wahoo it never ends, and according to most of our retailers now, It really doesn't end. So we spent all summer, all spring and summer, building inventory of our key products for our retailers, looking forward to the continuing boom in bike trainers, not just bicycles. We work very hard with our marketing team to drive demand. We can build all the product we want, but if we're not driving demand and driving customers to your store, we're not doing our part of the job. We fiercely police our MAP policy. Discounting really doesn't belong here, and we work hard to protect our dealers' margin, and we look very closely at what's going on out there to make sure that you have amazing product that you can sell for a profit. Someone mentioned on one of the videos not being able to get product because some of the big guys have the ability to buy it all. When we run into an allocation situation, we make sure that we help our smaller dealers as well as our large. As we all know, there are really big dealers out there that can suck a company dry on inventory, not leaving anything to go around for those very critical small and mid-sized dealers. Wow. We maintained our freight benefits for our retailers. Has anybody noticed what freight rates have done lately? From the inbound on the manufacturer side, trying to get containers of product to our warehouse, the cost has gone up not 2x or 3x, but 4 or 5x. The cost of shipping our product to you has increased exponentially. And we have minimized freight increases to our retailers, and we've kept our freight benefits at a very low level so our dealers can still enjoy those margins that they need to survive. We're hopeful that these increases are going to be rolling back, and we're rolling the dice and taking a risk that we believe they are, and we're trying to maintain that for our retailers. We've increased investments in support the IBDs and IBD-specific staff on the Wahoo side. We've added tech reps, we've added salespeople, we've added inside support people, all to make it easier to do business with Wahoo. We're about to release a new B2B because that's how you want to do business, and we want to make it easy to do business with us. Tech reps traveling the country for in-store dealer training, we've established that nothing beats face-to-face as good as videos are. There's something to be said for face-to-face interaction. All this to make it easier to do business with us, and we have a firm belief that our job doesn't stop when we've sold you the product. Our job isn't done until you see sell-through. And our commitment to you is to help you get that done, and we're doubling down on that investment for you.
Incredible. Thank you. Steve, is there anything that you have witnessed a retailer do adapting their business practices that stood out to you that you could share?
That's a loaded question. New practices, best practices, what are dealers doing today to maintain their relevance? Someone else on a video said Amazon and discounters. We compete not only with the bike industry, but every other industry. And we know that we are very much an experiential industry. So dealers are jumping in and they're enhancing the user experience. How are they doing that? By interactive displays, and Wahoo builds some amazing displays for our retailers. People want to try the product. They want to kick it, touch it, feel it, experience what it does. Pointing at one of our smart trainers and saying, hey, that's a smart trainer. It will do this for you, is a very different experience than saying, hey, come get on this smart trainer, see how amazing it is, and experience it for yourself. What a difference that makes. Many stores reset their store for the season. We ran a little short of extension cords for this show, so we ran to a local Lowe's, and what's the first thing we saw when we walked in the door? Christmas decorations. Now, why do they do that? Do they expect people to start buying Christmas product today? Probably not. But they know that the customer walking through their doors are going to see that Christmas product and remember where they saw it. So when they're ready to purchase it, they know exactly where to go. The number of retailers who don't reset their stores is shocking. And the number who say, oh, I bring in trainers when it's trainer season. People are walking through your store every week of the year, every day. If they don't see it, they won't remember it. Make sure the products that you really want to sell are visible to your consumers. Now, don't take this to me telling you to put a big display of trainers in the front of your store when it's prime bike season, but don't take them off the sales floor. Make sure your customers see them because it sticks in the back of their mind and they remember where they saw them, and when they're ready, they'll come back to you. Many quality retailers today will laugh at this. They remember the shifts. We saw the mountain bike boom in the 80s. More recently, the shift to disc brakes. How many dealers said, oh, disc brakes, they're just a fad, they're not going to stick around? And then we moved into electronic shifting. Who's going to use electronic shifting? Well, we see where that is today. How about e-bikes? Anybody look at e-bikes when they first came out and said, nah, this isn't going to go anywhere? And we laugh about it today, don't we? How about smart indoor trainers? In 2014, Wahoo really introduced the Kicker, the first modern smart trainer. And I remember walking into a store and showing it to the retailer. And he looked at me and said, son, are you crazy? Do you really think someone's going to spend $1,100 to ride their bike indoors? And I looked at him and I said, absolutely. I said, you're not going to do real well, son. Look where we are today. Most retailers are selling smart trainers. They've embraced the change. They learned how to sell the product. They became knowledgeable with it. They put it on their sales floor. Embrace the changes as they come. And remember, prime principle of retailing today, if you don't have it, they won't wait. Your customer will look to find that elsewhere. The internet makes it easy, and you need to make it even easier for them to find product, to buy it from you. You are the expert, and make sure you maintain that edge. Anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
Being better today than we were yesterday. Colton, as marketing manager for Quivers, any smart moves you can pinpoint that a retailer has done that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think over the last couple years, we've seen a massive increase in the interest for curbside pickup and buy online, pickup in store. I think a lot of the retailers who have embraced the reality that consumers are starting the search for products online and partnering with their brands to offer their store as a point of contact for the customers are seeing a lot of success. When a customer buys a product online and goes to the store to pick it up, they are engaging in person with this local bike shop. The bike shop is moving wholesale inventory. They're learning about what customers are buying, and they are essentially becoming that person's go-to shop. They're getting more meaningful foot traffic to their store, and basically the retailers who have embraced that have seen a ton of success. So if your brands are offering that in-store pickup option, reach out to them and say, hey, I would like to be a shop that's participating in a program like that. It's a huge benefit, like I said, getting customers into your store and moving the product that you have and even the product that you don't have, as brands can ship it to you on demand. So that's what I would say. Those in-person omni-channel shopping experiences, that's been a huge thing in the last couple years.
Thank you. That came up yesterday in a panel too, and I know we had a great conversation on that. Sonia and Kevin, both working for SRAM, and we've heard SRAM has publicly stated their support to retailers and how they're transitioning. Can you give some examples how SRAM is working to support retailers during these times?
I think it was already sort of mentioned, but we're finding new ways to communicate, and we set up a program called Virtual Retail Visit. We realized we weren't going to be able to get tech reps and sales reps into the stores, and that the stores are really, really busy. So they had very changing schedules and availability. So we set up a program. We use Microsoft Teams. We are able to basically put somebody in your shop virtually and give you the education that you need. Whether that's planning out weeks in advance, setting up kind of a ongoing seminar series on suspension or drivetrain setup, or what we like to call like the Mayday or the SOS 911 call. We can literally on demand bring a tech to your video monitor and work with you pretty much one-on-one on the spot to solve that problem that you're having. having that flexibility to do it when the shops are available is so dire right now, and that's been kind of something we launched initially, 20 months ago when everything was virtual. But we found it was a great platform, and we've enhanced it, and we plan on continuing to offer it as far as we can tell into the long, long future here.
Yeah, and thank you for coming to the shows. You've been displaying that to the retailers here, which has been awesome.
Yeah, we've got it going on a couple, 3 times today, and we did it yesterday, and it gives you a little taste of what we're offering. And it's a really professional setup. This isn't a wonky thing. Our technicians on the other side have dedicated workstations, multiple camera angles, really bringing the technicians, the sales staff, a phenomenal experience, I think.
Now, you work with several retailers in the California area. Is there anything that you have seen a retailer do in their practices at their store that really stood out to you?
Well, I think they've changed their hours quite a bit. As a sales rep, you used to get up and get in your car and drive around and hit 5, 6, 7, 8 shops. Now it takes a lot more strategy. Shops have either closed entirely to the public for days during the week or for certain hours. They've scaled back their open to the public hours. They are certainly in those shops. If you're speaking to any retailers here, you're going in early or staying late, but to get those quiet hours to do the work that you need to do, restocking shelves, searching online to your B2Bs to try and find the parts you need, or just catching up on service without the disruption has been a big change. And I think it's probably also something that's here to stay. Retailers need to have their doors open to welcome their customers, but I think by scaling back and having more of a concentrated work week, they are ultimately going to better serve their customers.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people talking about that change in the hours, or maybe even taking a whole nother day. Kevin, you've been in the industry for many years. Where do you see opportunities right now for retailers?
Well, I think with the increased sales of bike units in the last 18 to 20 months, we as retailers need to be looking at what is next spring going to be. If we sold 1,000 bikes with disc brakes 4 years ago, but last year we sold 1,500, we better have extra disc brake pads. We better have extra disc brake rotors. The same thing for electronics. We better be stocking more batteries, more wiring kits. All those service things, because there might not be increased bike sales in the next 2 to 3 years, but there's certainly going to be the opportunity to service all these bikes that we sold in the past. And I think the retailers that are planning ahead for that are going to be in a much better position than waiting till June of next year and say, wow, I better get more 12-speed chains, because they're just not going to be available.
Alex, as a retailer on the panel, how are you working with suppliers to ensure that you have best access to what's available in a timely manner? Like, what are you doing with those relationships?
Well, just bugging them all the time, calling them, email them, text him, like, where's my part? Just trying to get the best with them. We need to outsource lots of the side from big sellers. There is some cases that we don't even know who's our rep, because they don't travel anymore, or they've been changing regions very often. So that leaves us that we need to be more creative how to approach. And then so we need to go straight up to the brand, and just whatever we're able to get, because like everybody else, we struggle.
Yeah, re-cement the relationships. Kevin, when you're going in to visit a retailer, what are you hearing? What do they need? Like, is it just a warm face and a cup of coffee, or?
I think that's a lot of it. It's being a sounding board and listening to the frustrations of the dealers. Hey, I can't get XYZ part, whether it be a SRAM part or any other brand. It's listening to them. I think our reply back has been to be consultants more than sales reps, and sit down and assist with future planning. I found that retailers aren't very good at looking in the future and putting ideas and orders together in the future. And I think we've tried to do a very good job in that, is let us look at your past records and help you forecast into the future. And let's get 10 orders in place for next year, monthly orders. For the most part, retailers that have embraced that are going to have product for next year, and the ones that haven't are going to be scrambling worse than they were this year. Showing up, obviously, the job as a sales rep is job number one, and just to be there, like you said, and listen, and share some other best practices. That's what a lot of shops are looking for. What are you seeing? They're asking us, what is my competition doing? How are they getting through this time? And we're fine sharing that without mentioning names.
Yeah, we did a podcast, Bicycle Retail Radio is our podcast, and we had Bob Stomel on talking about reps and the roles. So if you have a rep coming to you, it's more than just an order taker. It's your opportunity to sit down with someone who's visiting shops and talking to other retailers and get that advice, that really firsthand advice. You know, as Steve was mentioning, going into the store, helping you set up the trainers, helping you get an interactive display area and really engaging your customers. That's the stuff you want to ask for the help, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Colton, looking to the future, anything you'd add? Any highlights, any things for where we could see success in the coming months?
Kind of as I touched on earlier, so it's obviously very clear service and hands-on experience with customers is not going anywhere. I think a few years ago, people were kind of skeptical about the future of brick and mortar retail, but we're seeing more and more brands double down on that experience. So have faith. You guys are crucial to the entire life cycle of commerce. I would say in the future, as treat your brands, your vendors, your customers, it's as a whole encompassing experience. Commerce works online and offline. Be open to change, but a lot of people touched on this earlier, whether it be driving to your customer's house to provide service or making things available where and when a customer wants to purchase them, their tastes and their preferences have changed, and it's important that whatever that change may be, that you meet the customer when and where they want to buy or receive bike service, which can be in a van or in your shop, which is not going anywhere. So embrace the change and be open to possibilities and be flexible.
Fantastic advice. Kevin, one more for you. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this one. I hope you don't mind. Thinking about the future and keeping new riders engaged and building community and connection, any thoughts, any pro tips you might share to retailers that you're witnessing or?
Yeah, and I haven't seen it yet with retailers, but I think it's a huge opportunity. The demographic of who's bought bikes in the last 20 months, I think, has changed from what it was 3 or 4 years ago, where outreach, for the most part, at least in a lot of my shops, involved talking to the racers, the Saturday championship ride, whatever it might be. But let's look at all the other bikes that we sold, the e-bike that has a trailer for the kid on it. Well, let's do events for them. Let's start engaging a little bit more with youth cycling, whether it be NICA in California and other states, or in Colorado, for example, that has their own leagues. Let's engage a little bit more with them. We have a whole new demographic of customers, and we need to start looking at that demographic of customers as an opportunity of not just selling them a product and thanking them and hoping they come back in 6 months for a tune-up, but how do we make them part of our bicycling community? How do we make them part of our retail community, our bike shop community? And honestly, I think if you had an e-bike ride that rode to the park with the kids, and the kids all had a picnic and played lunch, and mom and dad put the kids back on the bike and they rode back to the bike shop for ice cream, that would be a fun Saturday. And guess what? You might sell some accessories when those people came back to your shop. So let's look outside the box and let's analyze who these new customers are that we've had in the last 20 months, because they're all not wearing Lycra and they're all not wearing full-face helmets.
Yeah, I love that. And yesterday we had a panel discussion and we were talking about an ice cream ride, just something fun, just something unique, volunteering at your local rides in your community, using your social media feeds, all ways that we can be truly unique and memorable and engaging. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you. We're here. We're armed as an industry. We kept our doors open. We are working in the relentless pursuit of excellence. We truly are. I mean, you wouldn't be here if you weren't trying to be better. We've done a kick-ass job, right? Yay. Yeah, we've done a kick-ass freaking job. I'm swearing up here. No, we have new riders. We're expanding. We have new products we're coming out with. We're opening up the word cyclist to be more inclusive. There are dedicated Facebook groups for larger body cyclists. We have kids of all ages on bikes. We're expanding into cargo. We're actually embracing e-bikes to the point where there's so many things that are coming down the line. We have to be, thinking about e-bike batteries and safely storing them. We have to be ready to just learn and continuing to roll forward. We've talked about bicycle fit and the importance of fit for ages. We're not going to stop. That's something that's so important. Every time I drive down the road and I see someone, a cyclist on a bike, and they're not fitted properly, I cringe. I mean, how many times have you done it, right? You just want to pull over and help them, right? This is the time to be truly excellent and look at everything we're doing, because every bike that goes out your door, or every person who gets on a trainer, you have an opportunity to change someone's life. You set them on a journey. I started into the bicycling industry 22 years ago. I never, ever thought that I would be here, but I'm so extremely grateful and thankful. And I had some amazing people that I met along the way who helped ensure that I had a fabulous journey, who taught me I don't wear underwear under my cycling shorts. We have to be, it's true, we don't. We actually don't. No, some people don't even wear pads, I guess. I don't know about that, but we have to be true and unique and honest. So I challenge you to introduce yourself to the mystery of life and what it is that makes this worth living. There has never been a better time to be alive. And I will tell you, in my opinion, there has never been a better time to be in the bicycle industry. And the future, although we are vulnerable and terrible things can happen to us, it's really hard to make a case that the future does not look positive. We are becoming so extremely technology sophisticated. The world is changing at a rapid rate, and the only way we can manage is that each and every one of us, we make the best possible decisions. We're wise, we're careful, and the number one thing is we're truthful. Honesty will get us everywhere in life. If you're truthful, you can be the most amazing human. Our bicycle industry is going to thrive, and we all have to be responsible for it. We all play a vital role. So if we start with the simple idea that each of us has the chance to change someone's lives, as soon as we get up today, well, I have another video with an amazing other song, but as soon as we get up and we go out there, the next conversation you have could change someone's life. I wasn't planning on sharing this with you, but the last CABDA that I went to, I was at this happy hour event, and I met a person out of the blue. I had no idea who this person was. It was like serendipity. And now he's one of, I would call, my closest friends. And we have shared resource and knowledge and education. And Paul, I'm thankful to know you. You are no longer just the stranger, the random stranger. But every day we have the opportunity to introduce someone to the sport of cycling. We help them select their first bike. We tell them where to go ride. We fit them to their bike. We teach them how to change a flat. We get to inspire and to shape and become a part of someone's life story with optimism, compassion, and communication. But we can't do it if we're not memorable and we're not unique. So you can't be afraid. I always say being vulnerable and showing your soft side is sexy. It is, or handsome, or however you want to be referred to, but it is. Open up. My dad always says, Heather, you need to let people know who you are. And I think I do. And that's how we form these true, if you get my emails, I feel like you probably know me. You feel like you're one of my best friends, right? Let people in and get to know the customers that come into your store. Learn about them. Be memorable, and they'll come back to you. All right, so here we are. Who's freaking ready for today? Thank you for being here. Thank you. And with this, we go. And be great. It's a glorious day. Thank you.
Can you see yourself holding by my side 50 years from now? Whoa, you keep me in my youth, it gives me peace of mind that 50 years from now you still be in my life. I'll be here with you. I'll be here when I'm with you. You're with me everywhere the bells are ringing. I'll follow you, so shelter me. Can't you hear the angels singing? Have I earned your love? Am I good enough to walk hand in hand till we're older? If I'm good enough, sign me up. I'll be here with you. Summers come and go, and the winters get so wild. No matter what the seasons bring, you always make me smile. We're living in a dream, a little place to hide. We can ride the train to nowhere for a little while. I'll be here with you. I'll be here when I'm with you. You're with me everywhere the bells are ringing. I'll follow you, so shelter me. Can't you hear the angels singing? Have I earned your love? Am I good enough to walk hand in hand till we're older? If I'm good enough, sign me up. I'll be here with you. I'll be here. Let's get to the heart of it. Living life along the way. Let's get to the heart of it. Living life along the way. I'll be here with you. I'll be here with you. Pretty lady at the side of the train, it's hard to tell if I'll come to this town again. But if I do, I'll know where to find you. And if I do, I'll hope to remind you of what you said to me. This is a land of grass and grain. This is a place that's sweet like rain. This is a land I'll always know. Welcome to good old Ohio. Pretty lady at the side can hear you again say those words to me. This is a land